Hey, I'm Talaya. Happy to be with you. We are here with Billy Mondragon. By the way, I'm Talaya. You can hear me on Sirius XM Watercolors, sometimes on Real Jazz, but it's not all about me today. Billy Mondragon, or AKA I Will Go Mondragon. I can't help it. I'm Latina. He's with DW3, along with his brother Eric, also Damon Reel. They are Grammy nominated as that trio from El Sereno, Lincoln Heights, the east side of Los Angeles, which, that's my favorite, and a member of the legendary music family from this part of the city. We're here to celebrate you, Billy, as a solo artist releasing an independent project.
Finally.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
We're here to have a good time.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. Are you kidding? In fact, one of the things is the inspiration for this project had to do basically working with Tierra, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I worked with them for 27, almost 28 years of my life.
That's
the end of it, I was in and out. But yeah, 25 solid years and back and forth.
In fact, how old were you when you first started with Tierra?
17.
Gosh. And then you worked 27 years. You grew up with the band.
Pretty much.
Well, they saw you grow up.
He took me under his wing and said, let's go.
They took good care of you?
Absolutely.
Rudy and Steve.
Yes. Yeah.
Give us some stories.
Well,
I mean, the beginning. I mean, we 17 years old. It was you auditioned here in
I actually
Los
did
Angeles.
audition. So I was playing in a band with his son, David.
Uh-huh.
And we were doing the Grease play in high school. And
high school was where? Which high school did you go to?
Wilson High School
Okay.
in LA, in El Sereno.
Okay.
And he's seen me performing. And on the breaks of the Grease play, he's seen me performing. And he was like, wow, like you can sing. And about 3 or 4 weeks after the Grease play that we did it, he said, come to the house. I want to record you.
Uh-huh.
So I went to the house and we went to Fiesta Records in Los Angeles and we recorded a song called What Did I Get Myself Into Now?
Mm-hmm.
That was the very first recording I did with him.
What a perfect title.
It was crazy, right?
What are you getting yourself into, Billy?
Exactly.
Actually, it was good.
Yeah, it was great. And then a few weeks later, fast forward about actually a couple months later, they were playing at the Strand and one of the singers could not do it at the time.
The Strand was that club in Torrance, Palos Verdes,
Yes,
right?
And
Yeah.
There was a circle
I remember that. Yeah.
And he called me up. He said, hey, you think you can do the gig this Friday? It was Monday. He goes, we can't rehearse. Just come to the house. I'll go through the songs with you. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I mean, I was fearless at that age. And not till I got there. So I was like, oh my God, what do I get myself into now?
Uh-huh. Perfect title.
Exactly. And then basically took it from there. I did that show and it went over well. And after that, I was in the group.
That's amazing.
Great.
Who were the original members?
Steve Salas,
Mm-hmm.
Rudy Salas were the founding members.
Mm-hmm.
There was Steve Follimer on bass, Joey Guetta on keyboards. On drums was Phil Madea.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the horn players, Bobby Nevedete, Bobby Loya.
Right.
Am I missing somebody? Who else did they have? The percussionist was Andre.
Okay.
I forget his last name. Andre at that time was a percussionist.
Mm-hmm.
He left way before I got into the group. But yeah, that was the band.
So what year was that when you were 17?
It was 1989, 90.
1980. And Tierra was touring big
They were
everywhere.
All over the place. Yeah, they were doing. I mean, one of the first shows that I did was a Strand. Then I ended up doing the Greek Theater. I was just thrown into this band that was already established. I mean, I already knew them. I knew all the music because David and we used to play basketball while they were rehearsing in the garage. So we'd be listening to the music and we had our own band. So we try to mimic them,
Uh-huh.
and then, fast forward, I'm in the band. I'm just like, wow, how did this happen?
Yeah. So another thing about being in the band, you were touring. So you were 17, 18 years old, 19,
By the time
20.
I was touring, I was already 18, 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's got to be some stories and getting on the road. And luckily you as a singer, it's not like you have to make sure the tuba makes it onto the airplane, right?
Well, I had to learn that the hard way. I'll be completely honest with you. I mean, on being that young and being influenced by everyone around me, there was a lot of stuff going on backstage that maybe I shouldn't have done. I was going to say that much.
Done or seen? You should have said seen.
Done, seen, or just a lot of stuff.
Course,
when you're on the road.
Of course.
I was fortunate enough at that time for Rudy kind of like cut it all out. Like, I mean, said, you know what? We got to go straight, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some issue with drugs and alcoholism in the band. I'm not gonna point anything, but yeah, there was some issues, and he said stop. So I literally stopped drinking and stopped doing that stuff by the time I was 25.
Good for you.
So I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna take my career serious, I needed to stop and do and take it serious, and I did ever since.
Good for you.
Yeah.
What was the most amazing, I guess, venue that you performed in that blew your mind, that is like, I am on this particular stage?
There's a lot, but the one that stands out the most is I was a huge James Brown fan.
Oh,
and,
yes.
I got a chance to sing with James Brown on stage.
Oh, my God.
And we did that at, it was called Billboard Live in Hollywood on the Hollywood Sunset Strip.
I remember that,
He got his Hollywood Star Walk of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a fan of the band. At that time, we were doing recordings with him, and we were doing...
well, it was a perfect tour as far as matching up,
exactly.
right?
And he was all about horns, and just to be in his presence for me was probably one of the most amazing things in my career. And I was 22, 23 at the time.
And his work ethic. What about his work ethic?
Oh my God. It's just like boom, boom, boom. The hardest working man. When they say the hardest working man in show business, that was no joke. That guy was on it 24/7. We'd be in the studio till like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and then he'd want to have breakfast and start all over again. We're like, wait a minute, we got to go home. So
the work ethic, you learned a lot.
I did.
You absolutely learned a lot. At that point, you weren't drinking or partying too much.
No, I was pretty much on the straight and narrow. Yeah.
Good for you.
I was like I said, luckily for the older guys, I was able to take what they were doing wrong and figure out, okay, I don't want to be that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Unfortunately, I'm not saying that it was good that they were doing it.
No,
it kind of taught me, like, okay, you can't do that.
Yeah, all due respect to musicians from a certain era or even a certain genre of music. I mean, the lifestyle is the lifestyle. Right. You know what I mean? And it's like one of those things, if you're going to, do you need to have the blues to play the blues, right? You know what I mean? And not always, although sometimes it might add a little flavor. But in reality, to just be a professional singer, musician, everything that you've done, it's just admirable. And we're excited about this new project. That's why we're here talking about it. You've got some new music coming out, and it's a single. But I'm interested, the composers of this song were...
The original composers were Gamble and Huff.
And it was originally done by The Intruders.
The Intruders.
Right.
Yes. The Intruders did it.
But at the same time, everybody only knows Tierra's version.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's the most popular version. When Tierra did it, they kind of knocked it out.
Of course.
They took it, worldwide.
Totally. So you chose to do the song.
Together.
Uh-huh. Why'd you choose that song?
It's a song, for me, I'm paying tribute to Rudy and Steve.
Okay.
I never, when Rudy died, Steve died, it was during COVID. I didn't get a chance to really say my goodbyes. There was a lot of things going on with the family, and that's a whole other story. But there was a lot of stuff going on that kind of prevented me to doing anything.
Right.
And at this point right now, I want to pay tribute to them in my own way.
Perfect.
And I was, and the song that I picked together would just kind of fit everything that I had envisioned, even with the video. It just, for me to pay tribute to them.
Perfect.
And it was produced by Carlos Guillen and Pepe Marquez.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you've got an album to follow. Am I seeing that right? You're working in the studio?
We're doing a lot of singles. I don't know if we're going to put out a whole album, but it's going to be a lot of singles that we're putting out.
So you can go single by single.
Yeah, single by single.
Hey, well, we were talking earlier about maybe putting out vinyl.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to do some vinyl. Maybe after we record all of them. Get them all collectively, put them all on one vinyl.
That is totally awesome. We were talking about being on the road, and the first time maybe before you got on the road and you recorded, or maybe it was simultaneous. I'm guessing.
Yes.
You recorded with Tierra. So tell me about going into the studio, because the studio situation is obviously much different than being on tour.
Much different. I mean, I learned a lot of stuff. I learned a lot of the music by recording it, actually. I mean, we were rehearsing and doing stuff, but when you get into the studio, everything is so meticulous and you have to be perfect and you have to sing the right notes and you actually learn the music in your head. So when you get on stage, it's a time for you to release because you've been listening to it. You've heard it about 150 times every single take. Then when you get on stage, it's a whole different story. But you got it already there because you put so much time into the recordings that when you get on stage, it's a breeze.
I know you from Spaghettini, and I know you from the cruises. The cruises are so much fun. And those professional musicians that you work alongside, whether it's Dave Koz or Marcus Miller, and we're talking about just the leaders of the groups, they put so much trust in you in making sure that the background of what they are going to put on stage, because they don't always travel with their own musicians, right?
No.
You guys are the guys.
We backed up.
You guys are the go-to.
Everybody for so many years. Yeah. I mean, from Bobby Caldwell to, we were talking earlier about Michael McDonald.
Yeah, right.
To Denise Williams, to, everybody, every major artist in the industry, we've been the background guys for those guys at one point or another.
Exactly. And you personally have worked with some other big stars also.
Yes. Yeah. I've worked with, I was Stephanie Mills. I was on tour with Stephanie Mills. I was with Jeffrey Osborne. To so many off the topic. I can't, I'm going to have to write this down. We'll put it out there.
Yeah, we're going to have to do that. That'll come later. We'll put the bio together, all of that. I'm excited to be here with you. I'm excited for this new project. And I know that everyone out there is too. And it's your new baby, right?
It is. It
it's
definitely
your
is.
New baby.
And it's something I'm very proud of. It's taken 50-some years. I'm not going to say hold on, 50-some years to do it, but yeah.
Well, I think it's almost like we look up to the stars and there's Rudy and there's Steve and you're saying thank you is what you're basically saying.
Yeah, it's a tribute to them.
Yeah.
Because they opened the doors for a lot of us.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know, like they're the first, Latinos to have a #1 R&B hit. They got #1 on Soul Train Music Award.
Oh, right.
Soul Train Music Award. Latino, you know what I mean? And
right.
It's crazy.
I think it's fantastic.
But I like to think that I'm following in their footsteps because, as you know, DW3, we are a R&B group.
Yeah.
But they opened the doors. They've done so much.
Well, the comedian Alonzo Bowden, for example, on the ship, he's talking. He's doing his thing. And Alonzo's are great. If you ever have a chance, if you're not familiar with him, check out Alonzo Bowden. But he did a thing where it was like, how are we to know or how are we to judge individuals who have an amazing bit of talent when you've got 3 Mexican guys from East Los Angeles doing the Motown show, and it was true. And you guys did it from your heart. And the place was rocking and rolling and doing some nice little Motown moves with you. So,
well, the Motown story behind that is why we know so much Motown is, the studio we're in right now is owned by Little Ray, Ramon Jimenez. And we started backing up Ray when we were like 14, 15 years old.
Wow.
And he had us learn almost every single Motown tune that was out. We were doing Mary Wells, we were doing Temptations, we were doing so much stuff. And it all started right here in East LA.
That's beautiful. That's good. A lot of history.
A lot.
We're just barely getting to know you, but the new record's coming out. We look forward to it. Billy Mondragon, a.k.a. Mondragon, however you want to do it.
However you want to say it.
I'm Talia. Never call me Talila, and we are good. Good luck to you, man. I think it's awesome. We're going to toast. We're going to toast for sure.
Cheers.
Yeah. Together. Billy Mondragon. Billy Mondragon.